The day the prison gates finally slammed shut behind me, the cold autumn wind felt less like a greeting and more like a harsh reminder of everything I had lost. I stood on the damp pavement, holding a dead cell phone, $43 in cash, and a gold watch that represented the only piece of my past I had left. For 9 agonizing years, I survived in a cell for a massive corporate crime I never committed, while the people I loved most simply erased me from their lives. My name is Arthur Vance, and at 64 years old, I had to figure out how to rebuild my shattered existence from out nothing. Before the betrayal, I spent 3 decades building Vance Logistics from a single delivery van into a multi-million-dollar enterprise spanning the entire Pacific Northwest. I was a self-made man who took care of his employees, adored his daughter Julianne, and trusted his beautiful wife Evelyn and his childhood best friend Robert completely. I genuinely believed we were an unbreakable family, but greed has a terrifying way of exposing the darkest parts of human nature. In the spring of 2015, my entire world imploded when federal agents raided my headquarters with a mountain of fabricated evidence pointing directly at me. The authorities uncovered a complex network of phantom suppliers and overseas bank accounts that I had never seen before in my life. To my absolute horror, our long-term company accountant testified under oath that I had personally ordered him to manipulate the financial records to embezzle millions. The scheme was so brilliantly orchestrated that my own defense team could not find a single loophole to prove my innocence to the biased jury. I was handed a 12-year sentence, and as the courtroom doors closed, I realized my closest associates had designed the perfect trap. During that first year behind bars, Evelyn visited me exactly twice to weep and promise she would fight for my freedom until her last breath. Those empty promises evaporated 14 months later when a process server delivered divorce papers directly to my prison cell block. She attached a cold note explaining that she could not waste her prime years waiting for a convict and had found a partner who could provide a real future. It did not take long for me to discover that her new savior was Robert, the very partner who had sworn to protect my legacy. The true heartbreak was not the loss of my wealth or my treacherous wife, but the devastating ripple effect it had on my beloved daughter Julianne. She was a successful marketing director with a bright future and a wonderful fiancé when the scandal broke, but Robert immediately severed all ties with her firm to distance the company from my name. Her agency let her go. Her fiancé abandoned her under intense family pressure, and she eventually fled to a small apartment in a different city, thus to escape the crushing stigma. She stopped writing to me after 2 years because she could not bear to tell me. She was clipping coupons to feed my young grandson Leo. I discovered the ugly truth through a relentless private investigator named Vance, who uncovered the entire conspiracy after months of digging through hidden records. Robert had been quietly stealing from our firm for years, and when our internal auditors got too close, he and Evelyn paid a corrupt forensic accountant named Arthur to frame me. They used my personal signatures and manipulated digital files to make it look like I was the mastermind behind the entire fraud. Armed with this explosive knowledge, I knew patience would be my greatest weapon, so I waited until my early release to begin my quiet march toward justice. My first stop was Julianne's cramped apartment on a rainy Tuesday evening, where we sat at her small kitchen table and wept over the lost years. I met my 6-year-old grandson Leo for the very first time, and seeing his innocent face gave me an overwhelming sense of purpose that I had not felt in a decade. I looked into my daughter's exhausted eyes and promised her that the men who stole our lives were about to face the ultimate reckoning. She doubted my ability to fight a wealthy corporation, but she did not realize I had spent 9 years planning every single move. I tracked down the corrupt accountant, Arthur, to a quiet suburban coffee shop in Idaho where he was living a paranoid existence fueled by intense guilt. When I sat across from him, the sheer terror in his eyes confirmed everything, and he readily confessed to the entire setup in exchange for my promise of leniency with the prosecutors. He handed over a hidden flash drive containing the original altered spreadsheets, deleted email correspondence, and direct proof of Robert's financial payoffs. With those crucial files in my possession, I finally had the ammunition required to destroy the people who had ruined my family. On a quiet Sunday morning, I drove straight to my former estate and confronted Robert and Evelyn right in the middle of their pristine living room. They looked at me like I was a harmless ghost, but their arrogance instantly shattered when I played the audio recording of their accountant's full confession. I demanded the immediate return of my company, the deed to the house, and a complete signed confession for the federal authorities. Robert tried to bluster his way out, but he quickly realized every single exit had been permanently blocked by his own past greed. Evelyn stared at me with an expression of profound emptiness, realizing that the house of cards she had built with my enemy was finally crashing down around them. She quietly agreed to cooperate with the district attorney and sign the asset forfeiture papers without looking her new husband in the eye. I turned my back on their toxic wreckage and walked out into the crisp afternoon air, feeling entirely lighter than I had in 9 long years. True justice is not about anger or revenge, but about having the absolute resilience to reclaim your name and protect the people who matter most.